So, if you're in the software testing world, you have absolutely heard the whispers. You've probably seen the bold declarations online, right? It's a question that gets a lot of people really fired up, and today we're going to get to the bottom of it. The future of QA is changing fast, and it all kicks off with one very controversial phrase. And there it is, the phrase that launches 1,000 comment threads. Selenium is dead. It's a huge statement, and it's been bouncing around the tech community for a while now. But is it actually true?
Well, not exactly. And the real story, as it usually is way more interesting than just a headline. The truth isn't really about the death of one specific tool. It's about the birth of a whole new way of thinking about quality itself.
Here's what's really going on. We're seeing this massive philosophical shift. We're moving away from defining ourselves by a single tool like I'm a Selenium guy and moving toward this new identity as a true quality specialist. And this really gets to the heart of it. It's not that Selenium just stopped working or became useless overnight. No way. What's becoming obsolete is the idea of being loyal to any single tool no matter what the project needs. That whole era is kind of closing out. This lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got the old way, the specialist who has one hammer so every single problem looks like a nail. But on the right, you've got the new way, the quality specialist. This person has a whole toolbox and knows exactly which tool to pull out for which job. It's all about being flexible and, honestly, being more strategic. So, you might be asking, what caused this big shift? Well, a huge part of it was the arrival of some serious game changers, brand new technologies that just completely reshaped the entire landscape. And a perfect example of one of these game changers is Playwright. Now, Playwright and other modern frameworks, they didn't just offer an alternative to Selenium, they introduced capabilities that totally changed what teams even expected from their automation tools.
I mean, just look at these features. We're talking way faster execution, which means quicker feedback for your team. Smart auto-weighting, which helps get rid of those flaky tests. One of the biggest headaches in automation. Real mobile emulation, not just a squished desktop browser. And this one's huge, a unified way to handle both your UI and API testing. Each of these, on its own, is a massive leap forward.
And all of this leads us to the modern approach, building a complete toolkit. See, it's not about just swapping one tool out for another, it's about putting together a flexible, modular system where every single part has a very specific job to do.
The whole philosophy is really simple but super powerful. You want to build toolkits that give you options, not dependencies that lock you in. What that means is if a better tool for API testing comes along next year, you can just swap it in without having to tear down and rebuild your entire testing setup from scratch. It's all about freedom. And here's a great example of what that toolkit can look like. For UI automation, yeah, you might use Playwright. For your API testing, you can integrate a tool like Rest Assured or Postman. For really clear reporting, you plug in something like Allure. And you automate the whole thing in your CI/CD pipeline with GitHub Actions or Jenkins. See? Each piece has a purpose, and they all work together to give you real confidence in your product. So, all of this, it boils down to one simple but really powerful new rule for the future of QA. This is the key. Your value as a quality pro isn't measured by how deep you know one single tool anymore. It's measured by your ability to think strategically, to select, combine, and orchestrate a whole variety of tools to get the job done right. So, let's go back to that first question. Is Selenium dead? No. But the era of blind loyalty to any single tool, yeah, that is definitely over. The future, the new mantra for everyone in this field is super simple. Adaptability over loyalty. That's the real takeaway here. And that leaves us with a fun question for you. Thinking about everything we've just covered, what does your dream toolkit look like? If you had a completely blank slate, which tools would you pick and combine, and what's your reason? Let us know what you think, because that kind of creative thinking is where all the real innovation is going to happen.